So I'd like to welcome Leslee Dirnberger. Thank you, Leslie, for being here.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize there was another layer up there. Hey, hi. I know. Oh my gosh, I see people I know. This is awesome. All right. Well, I am very honored to be here. I can't tell you how much I've appreciated getting to know Nick Richmond, the Freedom Initiative Now family. Pastor Ionesco, I got to watch him speak several times, and it was very moving. And you'll hear I'm an emotional litigator, actually. I am a former attorney, as Nick said, and my background is I grew up on Capitol Hill, and I have written laws from federal down to local. And I know I'm up here to talk about education, but that's a huge part of why my husband and I chose to homeschool our children over 18 years ago. We have 4 children in 4 years. And to answer your question, no, I never imagined myself homeschooling. I didn't grow my own food, make my own clothes. I was not imagining myself homeschooling my children. But because of my background and because of what I saw happening in the public school that my children were in, and I was there all the time, I started to see something that I didn't like. And that was separating children from their parents. I saw systematically the teachers, the unions, the administration telling parents, no, you can't come in the classroom. They implemented No Child Left Behind. Well, being the government nerd I am, I read the thing from cover to cover. I was also on the PTA and all of that good stuff. And I said, oh my goodness, we're in trouble. And it's my job to look after my children first. This has been decades in the making. I want to really convey that to all of you tonight. This is not a recent issue, okay? This is decades. When Common Core came into play, do you know the only reason they implemented Common Core is so that your children would go back, come home and say, Mom, Dad, can you help me with this math? No, who could help them with that math? It's idiotic. So what do the children think? Mom and Dad don't know anything. I need to go back to school. They know, they can teach me. And unfortunately, we absolutely collaborate with that because we're sending our kids there to be taught. You know your children best, and don't you dare let anyone else tell you differently, because that's what's happening right now. And I'm very, very passionate about the fact that this government is trying to indoctrinate, has indoctrinated. I'm just going to tell you, it is happening, it's been happening, your children are being indoctrinated, period. You ever notice how your children don't bring books home anymore? Yeah? Show of hands. Whose kids don't bring books home anymore? That's intentional. That's intentional. Let me shift gears here a little bit, because I do, let's see, which do I hit to turn on? There we go. Because tonight's not just about education and educating you on homeschooling and what you can do. In my mind, and what I'm here to do is empower you. It is so important that you understand that you are the best teachers for your kids, period. That's it. Yes, you should definitely clap for that. And here you go. I was scared to death. I was scared to death. Ask my husband. I was crying. I don't want to ruin my children. Guess what? Our 4 children are young adults now, and they thank us all the time for homeschooling them. So I want you guys, even close your eyes a minute, and I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine your child excited to learn. Imagine your child engaging in deep conversation. Imagine your child accountable for their actions, taking accountability. Imagine your child learning new skills. And imagine your child daring to dream. That's what it's all about. Imagine them daring to dream. Galatians 6:9 tells us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Amen is right. Amen. Now's the time. Are you guys weary? Do you get weary? I know I do. I get weary just thinking about all the stuff these gentlemen have shared with you, and more what we're going to hear from Harry. But guess what? I also believe in an all-powerful, all-knowing God who has empowered you and entrusted you with these beautiful children. Whether you're a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, or an uncle, it will be a sacrifice. But you can do this. You have got to get your kids out of school, and I'm going to share with you now some numbers. And I'm going to tell you, first, I'm going to say, I do not co-parent with the government. Amen? Right? And neither should you. So, am I hitting it right? Okay. Here's the thing. In Illinois, your home is considered a private school. Did you know that? Most people don't realize that. The word homeschool does not appear in Illinois law. That is huge. There is no law that says you have to register or be recognized or be accredited. No. By the way, that goes for private schools of all sizes and shapes. And when you pull your child to homeschool, you are now a private school. And you have all of the protections of that, including a lobbyist who really knows what they're doing. Because we're part of the Illinois Council of Non-Public Schools. And let me tell you, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of homeschoolers pre-COVID. And we are adamant about protecting our rights. And here's some really great news. Do you realize in Illinois, we are one of the best states in the entire country to homeschool in? Seriously? Come on. How many things can we say that about here in Illinois, right? I mean, that is, man, I hear that and I say, wait a minute, are we talking about the same state? The only requirements, I'm going to jump through these, is you must teach the branches of education taught to children of corresponding age and grade in public schools. And those branches of education are basically what you'd imagine, right? Oh, and it must be taught in English. Okay, that's what the law says. And they're the branches you'd think, language arts, math, science, but here's the kicker. You can teach those how your child learns best. You can teach these in such a way where our 3 boys, we have 3 boys and 1 girl, study some spelling words, get up, jump on the trampoline. We go outside, we shoot baskets and practice our spelling words. We run around the yard and we have relay races while we're doing our math problems. Not kidding. It's fantastic. I miss it. Let me cut to the chase. These are questions I get all the time. There are no standardized testing requirements. Standardized testing is useless. It is put in place by the government to get money. That's it. It's the way the federal government and the state government gets control of our schools. That's it. There's no standardized testing requirement because it's useless. One of our children decided he wanted to go to high school. And we said, okay, we'll jump through all the hoops. It was the first standardized testing he'd ever taken when he was entering high school. And he scored in the top 20%. We were in Fremd district out in the suburbs, and out of about 850 students. So then he was invited to take a critical thinking test. And I was dropping him off and I said, are you nervous? And he said, Mom, it's a critical thinking test and you've been the one to teach me all these years. I'm not worried. That was a great confirmation for me, but it also, he got in the top 30 kids in the whole class. First testing my son had ever taken. You don't need it, okay? There's no certified teaching requirement. Here's the thing, teachers don't get to do what they do best. They don't get to teach, unfortunately, right? They actually don't get to teach. They're told what they have to teach the kids. And let me tell you, I work with a lot of teachers as well, and trying to help them get out of the public school system and make a living doing what they love to do, finally, and not have to teach these kids over-sexualize things and CRT and just garbage and not truth. All right? So there's none of that. There are no mandated number of days. There's no state recognition. There's none of that. I love this. In other words, whatever you say goes. For the most part, okay? A lot of people I hear and parents I hear say, I could never do this. I could never do it. That's an excuse. It's an excuse. You know, people look at me and say, oh, well, you are a lawyer. Are you kidding? That does not qualify me. Not at all, not at all. But here's the thing. What does qualify me and what qualifies each and every one of you out here is I love my kids. They come first. My kids, my husband, my family. And like you've heard from, and you're going to hear more from these gentlemen, I am a passionate nerd of the Constitution as well. I teach it. I've taught it for decades. I absolutely love it. And I will tell you, and they will confirm this, I know, the foundation of this country and the principles that this country was founded on at the very base are its individuals and then its family, period. And that's why they're attacking at the very base of our freedoms. And we've got to take that back. That's right, clap, yes, we do. We need to take that back. You better believe it. The numbers don't lie. How many times have we heard that? I'm just going to give you some quick stats because I get all the time, I get this from people. I couldn't do it, and there's a lot of misconceptions and myths out there about homeschooled students. And at some functions, and when I do speak, sometimes I'll bring one of my kids along with me so, you know, you guys can actually test it out and see what they say. Over 74% of homeschooled students, educated adults, age 18 to 24 have taken college-level courses, compared to 46% of the general population. STEM, everybody's worried about STEM. I got a whole nother talk on that one, actually. We need to be more worried about the creative stuff at this point. But here's one at a STEM school. A study was done. Average undergraduate homeschool students was 3.45, compared to, as you see there, 2.69. Homeschoolers get involved. What are we talking about here tonight? What exactly are we talking about here? We need to be involved. What did you hear from Nick? What did you hear from the pastor, from Dave? I guarantee you're going to hear it from Harry as well. We need to be involved. Homeschoolers get involved. 71% ongoing service activity compared to 37% of the general US population. 88% of homeschool grads were members of an organization compared to 50%. Here's one I love, especially because we're talking about what we're talking about tonight. I consider politics and government too complicated to consider. 4.2% of homeschool graduates said yes to that, compared to 35% of US adults. That's sad. And that's why we're in this situation we're in right now. On the whole, how satisfied are you with the work you do? I don't know about you guys, but we don't necessarily define success in our household by, how much money you're bringing in. My husband and I homeschooled our kids, and we sat down and defined what a good education meant to us. And that meant teaching our children to be people of character, to put God at the center of everything they do, and to think for themselves, to think critically. That was not happening in the public schools. We were not seeing that. So satisfaction, I gotta tell you, our daughter, our oldest son, actually I found out, I don't know if she's here tonight, Florica, is Florica here by any chance? Okay, I was told to look for her because our oldest is an executive director at Chick-fil-A in Kildare, and the owners are Romanian, and they texted me and said, wait, what, you're gonna speak there? You need to meet our mom. So I was kind of hoping, all right. But satisfaction, our son, very satisfied. Our daughter, incredibly satisfied. Lives downtown Michigan Avenue, dream job, she's absolutely loving it. That's a really sad percentage difference. Homeschoolers work hard. They know it's about hard work. What did you hear from the pastor? It's about hard work. It's not about luck. It has nothing to do with it. And finally, let's dispel some homeschool myths, and then I'll wrap it up. Parents should teach every subject through high school. Absolutely not. Are you kidding? I had zero desire to relearn calculus, never wanted to see it again. I went to law school instead. Okay, but here's what you do. You find those people who are passionate about that subject. I got to find people who taught the way my kids needed to learn, who were passionate about what they were teaching. I had families through the years of my teaching say, oh, Mama Dee, will you please, please, please teach math? I said, are you insane? They said, but my kids would take it from you. They love you. And I said, no, they wouldn't. Not if they took math from me. They would hate it because I'm not passionate about it. That's not what I love. But when you are homeschooling, you can find those people. My child can't get a diploma or a transcript. Yes, they can. You issue it. It's that simple. I love that you're laughing. Exactly, it's that simple. You sign it and say, they graduated. And my kids would tell people, are you kidding? My mom's got harder requirements than your high school ever did. And they're right, okay? You sign it. And you know what's super cool? I've tried not to get choked up at this one. My husband and I graduated them. It was our honor to sign that diploma. And we named our school Crown Academy for the King. Amen. So all 4 of our kids graduated from Crown Academy. And we issued it. And I'll tell you something. Check it out. I've got all kinds of homeschool workshops. You guys can talk to me about that later. And the transcript that I use, and I use with my clients, and I use with my kids, I had college counselors calling me or emailing me or telling my kids, we've never seen a transcript like this. This is incredible. You can do it better than the schools. Homeschooled students don't socialize. Okay. I had to stop my kids from socializing so much. You know why? Because they have so much more time. And they got to actually spend time with their friends, not pass them in the hall and high-five them or drop their mask to say hello, right? Please, can I just tell you, the socialization your children are getting right now is garbage. Garbage. Do you know my children, our 14-year-old son, when he made a travel baseball team, my husband and I were floored because some high school dads came up to us, shook our hand and said, "Can you take my son home with you?" And I went, no. Because apparently our son had been walking up to every dad, walking up to them, looking them in the eye, shaking their hand and introducing himself and saying, "Hi, I'm Tim. It's very nice to meet you. Who's your son? I'm new to the team. I'm very excited and honored to be on this team, and I just wanted to introduce myself." 14. We were even shocked. We know our kid. But you know what? That's because he grew up being socialized in society. He grew up being socialized with all of you. He grew up being socialized with infants all the way up to grandparents. Our kids looked, and still do, look people in the eye, okay? Parents should teach every subject through high school. Yeah, no, we already covered that one. Not gonna happen. I probably went backwards. Homeschooled students can't get accepted to college. That is one of the biggest lies that the public school and society want to tell you. Colleges love homeschoolers. Amen, right? I am telling you this, I have worked with, actually over the years, I've worked with thousands of families. And I am telling you, colleges love homeschoolers. You know why? Because they already have those life skills that other students who've been in the public school system don't have. They know how to prioritize their time, is a huge one. They know how to take care of themselves. They also know how to deal with some hard knocks, because guess what? Their dad and I, one of the hardest things you do is let them fail. Let them fail, and I call it failing forward. Let them fail forward, let them fail. Then you help them learn how to get themselves back up. That's what life's all about, and that's what you can do when you homeschool your kids. Or if they do get in, they won't be able to adjust. Another huge, huge myth. My kids were the ones teaching everyone else how to do their laundry, how to figure out how to budget their time and get their schoolwork done, helping them with their schoolwork, because several of my kids had already, our kids had already taken so many community college classes. They were, semester or more ahead. So they were helping their honors college friends get through their chemistry. And I'm going to end with this. Thank you for listening. As you can tell, I have such a heart for parents, for families. I know God has called me to strengthen families, pure and simple. Aspire in education may be the way that the tool that God's given me to use. But God calls parents, not schools, to empower and educate their children. Amen. And I want to thank you, and I want you to know you absolutely can do this. It's a sacrifice, but are you willing to sacrifice your children over yourselves? I know that's brutal. I've always been direct, but that's what it really comes down to. And you can do this. You can do it. Amen. Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much. God bless.